Hello again, and for today, I just wanted to start off with a little channel update before we get into the videos proper. Seems to me that there are a lot of people out there who don't understand what their freedoms are in this time of crisis, and that you shouldn't just give them away willy-nilly. So I will have an update probably around Monday-ish related to that, as far as what's going on in the world right now. And so yeah, that is the housekeeping for the channel out of the way. And so we get into the video proper. Now, for a while, and as I've been watching the Democratic primaries unfold, I have pondered at this question. What does it mean exactly to be a Democrat? And the reason why I am asking this question out loud now is because I don't really think that most people who would identify with the label liberal or progressive don't even understand what their party exactly stands for, other than we're not Trump. And if you want to have a political party to just be outright against someone and have nothing to stand for means that you aren't standing really for anything. So let's see, just based on the actions of members of the party, what it truly means to be a Democrat. And for me, Democrat is now an umbrella term. The reason why I believe this is the case is because you're going to hear lots of points that just don't align with each other. And you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to get to point number one. The first point in this commentary of what it means to be a Democrat is very unfortunate, because I think the older people in the party would not agree. However, if you are a young Democrat, it means you are a communist. Full stop, you are a communist. You do not believe in capitalism. You do not believe in private property rights. You do not believe in private enterprise. You believe that the state should control all means of production. They'll claim that the workers are supposed to be in control of that, but at the end of the day, they need mommy and daddy to help them organize things. So they will cede power to the state. And you see this with their reliance of government programs to solve all of their hard problems, like healthcare, like filing for unemployment, like getting a job in the fucking first place, because these are not the proactive people trying to not only get a job, but maybe even make their own job. You know, I would say the hypocritical thing about the bread tube community is that they are making their own job by being a content creator. And if it were up to the state, they would have taken years to get off the ground. But then again, they took years to get off the ground anyway. I mean, it was like, what, 2 years of 2015 and 2016 where you didn't see any communist YouTuber whatsoever. And, oh man, those people will have to be commented on at some point. But I would rather let certain events unfold for characters like Vouch before I ever consider making that video. But yeah, this is one of the big primary problems, is that there are lots of neoliberals in the Democratic Party who would staunchly oppose people like AOC if it was politically correct to do so. Instead, they silently try to fuck people like her over, or even better, whip her ass into line. Which, by the way, that's like the funniest shit about all of this Democratic nonsense, is the fact that they are all just completely all over the place politically is what genuinely makes their interactions very funny. That is that point, I would say. Kind of messily summarized, because it's a mess of an ideology right now and a mess of a party. So the next point, I think, is a little more unifying. To be a Democrat also means that you're a globalist. You only believe in patriotism when it aligns with your beliefs, and you especially don't believe in nationalism. Because to you, nationalism is synonymous with the Germans in the 1930s and 40s. And if any of these people were politically literate, they would understand that nationalism and that section of history have nothing to do with each other than there was a little bit of nationalism. And this might sound confusing to you if you're a progressive or a neoliberal, but you don't understand nationalism, so you can't go willy-nilly into a fucking tizzy about what nationalism is on me, because I do know what nationalism is. Nationalism is just wanting the best for your country. And if you consider yourself a patriot, oh, you're a nationalist. Ooh. So that is the disarming of that word nationalist. And what is the opposite of a nationalist? Well, it is a globalist. And if you are on this channel and you lean similarly to myself, you already probably know what a globalist is. But to the layman out there, a globalist is someone who believes in centralized power. They believe in things like the United Nations. The globalist believes in a one world government at some point far into the future, if not as soon as possible. Because globalism is the reverse of nationalism. You want what's best for the world. And sometimes what's best for one country isn't good for another. And so what happens? Stagnation. And so you see these neoliberals and communists just totally fucking aligning with globalism, because both of their ideologies adhere to the absolute dissolution of the nation state. And what do you get after that? Well, you get a one world government. So if you want a one world government, you're a Democrat. And clearly, they all fall within that. And if you're a neocon and want a one world government, well, spoiler alert, you're in the wrong fucking party, buddy. Yeah. Why don't you go to the libertarians? Maybe they'll help you out with their plans for fucking child slavery. Oh, God, don't get me started on the LP. Let's go to the next point. If you're a Democrat, you love being subservient to the elites. This is shown through the communists and the way they play the race game, where class is no longer an issue for a communist. It's now all about racism, which is so fucking ridiculous, because if you were to talk to communists at the start of communism, they would tell you very point blank, class is the issue. The divides and the austerity is the issue. But now, oh, fuck that. Yeah, we'll do the elite's bidding so that we can maybe get closer to our one world government of communism. Which is ridiculous, because the elites are never going to help you win. The elites want you to lose too. And it's just, again, this whole ideology is a mess. It's a fucking mess. And the final point that I have listed here is that to be a Democrat, you want to help people, but right up until it's detrimental to you. Now, what does this specifically mean? Well, it's very simple. You'll be willing to help people, but the moment that it starts affecting your bottom line, maybe not. So, again, what this would include is virtue signaling, pushing Facebook links for donations. But when it comes to actually giving money, maybe not. And the more principled people will pretty much give up a big chunk of their money. But at the end of the day, because it's only like a handful of them, it's still not going to add up to much. You still have this party, again, that is fractured, that has no core values, that has nothing to rally behind, that has no ideals or ideas for the future. And again, this is, for me, what I've seen, what it means to be a Democrat. And it's just so funny. It really is just so funny. You know, years ago I thought, much like most people my age, oh, the Republicans are stupid, but the Democrats are not. It's like, look, everyone has flaws. Everyone has problems. You know, conservatives have conservative as their big problem, and the Democrats, well, their lack of unity should speak to how they have no solutions. It should say that, you know, if you want to be a full-throated commie, why don't you go bolster the numbers of the Green Party? Maybe you'll actually get somewhere instead of getting bullied by a bunch of neoliberals. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. And to the neoliberals, it's like, what are you doing allowing people that you know are just totally hate your guts and want to completely destroy you into your own party? Like, hello, Earth to History Department? Like, can we get a fact check for these losers? Oh my God. For me, what I think is really funny, and in my own Why I Left the Left story, it really boiled down to this. It boiled down to the fact that there was no winning strategy or ideology going forward in this sphere of leftism in America. It just totally shit the bed, because you had one faction that wants, full-blown communism, and one faction that wants to return to a 1990s New World Order, which, again, both of them are just nightmarish dystopic versions of the future. But you still have to have a party that has to go up for election. Because these decisions were never made after 2016, and instead we are now constantly being distracted and playing Trump's games of Orange Man bad, 24/7, 365. That, again, they have nothing to stand for, and it shows. So I'm going to wrap this video up. In conclusion, I just find the Democratic Party lacking substance. I find their values to be non-existent. I find their principles to also just have disappeared in order to say that the bad man that it's orange is the orange man that is bad. So I really don't know what to say if you are still a voting Democrat, other than maybe you're old and you're just not paying attention, or you're young and you're being led astray by a bunch of people who are using you for their gain. So, to the Democratic Party and to all Democratic voters, I don't think you have anything to tread lightly about, because like I stated in my video on Joe Biden, you people are fucked.